So, today I have decided to discuss a very of fetal development and parturition stages in cow. This is the topic actually, and we will discuss thoroughly that what are the fetal development stages from day one conception to parturition. So these are the few things those we'll discuss over here, and then we'll have a so so this is the topic fetal development and parturition stages in cow. So objective of discussion of this topic is that we will learn about the gestation and the stages in dairy animals, and will also learn about the scenario of parturition in dairy animals. So because we know that the gestation is the period conceptions to in between the conception to parturition, that period is very important from dairy economics, because if the animal is pregnant, then we'll have opportunity to have a milk production. So that is why the care of animal during this period is having the vital that interest of business in dairy husbandry. So let us have a first look on the introductory part, that one of the most rewarding days for many cow producer is sale day. Watching a calf grow from calving to weaning brings many challenges, but it also is very gratifying when those calves you slapped to save from the snow drift, branded and doctored, finally bring a premium price in sale bring. However, before those calves ever hit the ground, the growth and development that take place in the uterus set the stages for their success in that sale ring. Understanding the stages of fetal development is not only interesting but also valuable information for calf producers. Producers are becoming more familiar with the term fetal programming as science progresses to give a better understanding how maternal management and nutrition can impact the health, performance, and productivity of their offspring. This article will not address the current advances in fetal programming research, but rather give an overview timeline of fetal development. So through this discussion, we'll just want to learn that what is the and it's just an overview and timeline of fetal development took place inside the dam. Following fertilization of oocytes, mitotic cellular begins to take place, identical cell replication. This is this is the earliest stage of embryogenesis. At 24 hours, the two-celled embryo. On the day 1.5, it is four-celled, and day third, it has reached up to 8 cells. As it travels from oviduct towards to uterus, entering in it between 4 to 5 days. Now, massive growth begins to occur on day 13. The fetus will be about 3 mm in diameter, and by day 18, it will be large enough to occupy portion of both uterine hormone. During this phase, pores of developing cells will become Maternal recognition of pregnancy will occur in the cow 15 to 70 days a week, is for ovulation, with uterine attachment placenta between day 15 to 22. Further development begins to take place at point by 22 fetus to develop along with development organs, such as the liver, pancreas, lungs, thyroid, brain, kidney. By the 45th day gestation, the testicles in the female ovarian development took place. 50 to 60 days following ovulation, around day 49, and digestive system began development. While the fetus is growing in size throughout the gestation, 5% of the total weight gain and growth of gestation. In the table, we have shown dramatic increase in size that is taking place during development, making it a demanding time period for mother as a gestation draw to an end. The deposition of brown is completed, accounting to account 2% of the live birth of the cow. In addition, the final development of the lungs is taking place, making it critical time for the health of the unborn cow. So here we'll see that the presentation and in table of development is there. So we'll see that in 1 month we have a 9 bit, and at the at the time of the parturition it's 34 to 35 kg. So that will see that how much development will took place in the in month wise. We can also see that the first month, second month, third month, because at third month when we'll see that the attachment of placenta, attachment of that fetus with the placental membrane, that being took place, and on that time we'll confirm that the animal is pregnant or not. So that is a stage that we, from here, when the placenta attached with the fetus attached with the placenta, on that during this approximately that the 20 weeks, 22 weeks times, we'll see that the entire that feeding of this zygote, or this fertilized ovum being took place by the hormone to whom we are calling the progesterone, and that is to be responsible for maintaining the pregnancy. So this initial nourishment, and then the placental that attachment of fetus, then the entire that gestation period, the fetus fed by the placental membrane, and then the development of all body organ took place gradually. So this is the simple that what kind of the development is being took place inside the placenta. Now in the picture that we see that the fetal development of this is the time of the parturition, we can see in the pictures itself. Then the parturition, we know that it's giving birth of young one by a female. That process being called as a parturition, and when the parturition is started, just before that there is a huge hormonal changes inside the body of the female. What happens when the gestation is over? Immediately, that on the time there is a release of a hormone whom we are calling the prostaglandin or TGF2 alpha. That hormone releases in a huge amount from the uterine horns, and these hormones they reaches to the corpus, they reaches to ovary and regresses, and they are responsible for the lysis of the corpus luteum. That corpus luteum, we know that releases the hormone whom we are calling the progesterone, and that hormone is responsible for the maintenance of entire gestation period through entire gestation period. And this hormone is responsible for sending negative feedback to the hypothalamus not to release further the gonadotropic hormone. So when the corpus luteum regresses, immediately there is a huge change, hormonal change, that the message goes to the posterior pituitary and anterior pituitary through hypothalamus, that they are releasing in a huge amount that the prolactin and the hormone whom we are calling the and the oxytocin. These are the two hormones. They all together reaches to the uterus, and they are start they started that the uterine that pain and the labor pain is started and the cramps started. And immediately, because of the initial stage when the parturition, that for the first stage, we know the cramps and the labor pain is started. On the time that the prolactin, estrogen, and the hormone to whom we are calling the oxytocin, all together they are working on the mouth of the uterus, and started dilation of the cervix. Because till the entire that gestation, we know that the cervix remain closed. So that because the fetus to bring out fetus from the passage to whom we are calling the cervix, that to dilation we started. And because of the uterine that pressure, the muscles, uterine muscles started contraction in the muscles, that started creating pressure on the cervix. And automatically, this, because of the hormonal situation, that the three hormone, that estrogen, oxytocin, and prolactin, all together they are naturally responsible for the opening of the cervix. And then immediately when the cervix started opening, then continuous that the cramps and that the uterine contraction also start inside the body of the female. That brings animal into the position when which we are seeing that in the picture, that the fetus. Now the first we will see the four legs, and the nose together came out from the vulva. We'll see that through the vaginal path. So before that, we'll have a water bag, and that water bag, when water bag came out, then it's a clearance of the passage, that the fetus now is ready to. So now the female once again started the uterine contraction, and then because of that pressure and the oxytocin hormone and prolactin hormone, they all together they are responsible for the uterine the contraction, and that help naturally to bring out fetus from the inside the uterus. So that is the process to whom we are calling the parturition. So it's this process is been described under the three stages that we'll discuss one by one. There are three stages of the birth process or parturition: dilation of cervix, delivery of the calf, and delivery of the placenta. So these three stages, they are generally being called as the stages of the parturition. Knowing the normal birth process will help you to decide whether or not to intervene, because it's a natural process. So unnecessary there is until and unless the intervene is not required, you don't intervene into the matter, because this is the process which is to be performed by the female itself. So stage one, that the dilation of cervix, you might not even notice this stage, which may take days to complete, because uterine muscular activity is quite during this stage at the cervix soften, and the pelvic ligaments lax. At this time, you may see the thick, clear mucus string hang on the vagina. You may notice the cow appetite decreases, and she may prefer to be off by herself. Uterine contraction begins, and the labor pain is started. And the stage one, the pushing uterine contraction against the cervix, causing further dilation and opening of the cervix. That we have seen that because of that, the hormonal changes inside the body. When the gestation is over, immediately the PGF2 alpha releases from the uterine hole, and they immediately regress they are responsible for the regression of the corpus luteum. And then when the corpus luteum regresses, immediately the secretion of progesterone stop, and the masses reaches to hypothalamus to release the gonadotropic hormone, and also to posterior pituitary to release the oxytocin. And all together, the prolactin, oxytocin, and estrogen, these three hormones, they started creating pressure on the cervix, and automatically the dilation of cervix started. So it's a natural process, and that stage being called as a first stage of the parturition. And then we'll see the uterine contraction begin to the end of stage one, pushing uterine contents against the cervix, causing further dilation. Stage two will see that the delivery of calf, but before delivery of calf, we'll see the water bag will come out, and that water bag is also giving a message that now the passage to deliver the calf or fetus is clear. And when the water bag came out, then it's also a confirmation of that now the entire process is proceeding towards the natural that parturition. This stage officially begin with the appearance of membrane water bag at the vulva. Start your clock this time. Traditionally, text days said the calf should be delivered within 2 to 5 hours of the moment of the first sea of water bag. This is actually the stage, and to whom we are calling the second stage. More recent research has found that the healthy heifers with normal calf presentation will calve unassisted within an hour of start of stage 2. Healthy cows with normal calf presentation are within 22 minutes of the start of the stage. So when will a cow need assistance, the decision to intervene is a matter of judgment. Because until and unless there is a need, you don't interfere into the process of the parturition. And it's a matter of judgment that when you are seeing that this is the thing which is being took place, then only. More recent research has found that the healthy heifer's normal calf presentation will calve assisted within 1 hour, that we'll see that the 3 to 5 hours that they are to be the maximum time limit. Otherwise, normally the plenty of research that indicated that 22 minutes from that when the stage 2 start, that within 22 minutes that will have a calf from different them. But this is the intervention, the matter of judgment improve with the experience. The cow that labors over an hour with the front feet nose of the calves, that will know. So see that the in the picture that here we have already seen that the calf is coming in a way like that. First the four legs and then the limbs on the nose they all together, and then the entire process, the entire body will come out. So this is the important thing which we have to notice during the period of the parturition, and this is the second stage actually which we have discussed right now. The cow labor over an hour within nothing, obviously need help. You may feel uneasy watching a laboring cow when you have not set your clock. As you want to know when the stage 2 actually begin, to put your mind at ease, and you will need to conduct a vaginal examination. With this exam begin by the clearing cow's vulva, rectum, surrounding area, and under the tail, as well as your hands and arms with the soap and water. Cleanness is very important. Wear protective sleeves. Gentleness and lubrication are also important. Place your hand in the vagina and try to figure out what is happening. Feel for the cervix. If it is not dilated, it will feel as it is your hand passes through or long a palm, tubular or circular structure. Once dilated fully, you should no longer feel that cervical edge. Can you put your hand on the calf? There straight line access to touch it, or does your hand have to turn the twist from your fold to vagina in order to the calf? If so, uterine torsion is present, and you probably need to call for a veterinarian assistance, because if there is any torsion or there is any that type situation when the turning of calf is being took place inside the uterus, from that time then you don't have any option. You call a technical assistant, veterinarian, the professional of gynecology. That will help in facilitating hmm, the parturition process. Because if the turning of fetus being took place, the experience the veterinarian is required with the manual, that instruction, that sometimes they are able to out the fetus as it is. Otherwise, if the torsion being took place, then they don't have any options. Sometimes we will use the that the instrument which is required to bring out the fetus from the uterus. Normal presentation, either anterior or posterior. Anterior presentation is to head, nose, and two front with the spine of the calf resting against the undesirable of cow's spine. Posterior position is one of the two rear feet and the tail, with the spine of the calf resting against the undesirable of the cow's spine. If the presentation is normal, you may allow the cow to labor for 40 minutes or an hour, especially in if we'll see that the front, that the leg and nostril, if the direction is like that, then we don't know want to interrupt into the process, because let us allow the female to deliver the fetus at her own. Until and unless if the position is different, then your manual that interference is required. If the presentation is normal, you may allow the cow to labor of 40 minutes or 1 hour, especially in the water bag is still present around the calf. If the water bag has broken, the calf should be delivered sooner, as soon as the cervix is fully dilated. The following criteria can be used to judge whether the extraction of calf is anterior presentation in position or not. In the standing animal with the calf's head completely in the pelvic cavity and with the pull of one person during a contraction, you should be able to place a hand between the calf head and cow's backbone. You should allow also be able to feel both points of the calf's shoulder. 2 inches 3 fingers with or less to the pelvic inlet. In the recumbent animal, you must be able to feel the point of that shoulder 2 inches or less forward to the pelvic inlet. If it is possible to use the hook with one person pulling, extraction of posterior presentation may not be possible. When the calf's hips joints pass into the pelvic canal, its hooks will be visible, and one hand with beyond the vulva, if you can extract the knock of the pelvic mismatch is occurring. Transaction should be discontinued and other method of delivery explored. In attempt to correct a malposition, it is useful to first start cannot be done, so you don't waste your time. First, have a cup and on her feet, restrain in well-lit area that is safe for both and cow to work in. It is much easier for you to work when both you and are standing. There is more room for you to manipulate the fetus when the cow's abdomen contents are not pushing up and against the pelvic canal. If it may improve your reach if you stand on a firm raised platform such as a hay bale or block. Don't change an anterior position to a posterior one or vice versa. There is not enough room. You cannot deliver an interior presentation unless both legs and heads are through the cervix. Sometimes only the legs come through and then the head turns away. The head must be straightened and snared or otherwise come the cervix before you continue transaction. You cannot deliver 3 or more legs to the cervix. They may be born from the same calf or from twins. The proper 2 legs have to be sorted out and other back out of the way. Only rarely can you deliver a calf with just its head through the cervix. Push it back and 4 legs through first. It may be smart to take a minute to snare the head so you can keep track of it before you push it away from you. Is likely to be the better. It means that the correct way of initiating the parturition is that the 4 and then the head. This is actually the correct method. And if you out of position, if you have any other position, then you push back the fetus inside the uterus. Then manually you interfere and promote the correct situation that anyhow first the 4 legs will come, then the nose and the head of the fetus, and that this is the right process of coming out the fetus. So otherwise any other position if it is there, then you are supposed to send back and push the fetus again inside the uterus. And if in case if in case the twins are there, then you have to have a more cautious about the situation. In through service only, the correct process is that if the only head you are seeing, then you push again, and then you manually promote that the four legs come out, and then only you allow that fetus to to deliver in a process like that, which is the correct one. Only rarely can you deliver a calf with just head, that I have already discussed. Now, if the head is swollen already, the vulva, and the calf is dead, the the head may need to be amputated first to make room to get the legs through. There may be time when you cannot get cesarean to help with the complicated delivery. The graphics depicted that keeping livestock healthy also provides some guidance. Whenever possible, however, get a veterinarian to help with the complicated cases, because the outcome is likely to be far better. Stage 3. Now, this is very important stage, that after when healthy fetus came out from female, that is not that the parturition is over. You detach that after birth, the man, and then you separate the fetus first, and that the place that which now become a foreign material inside the body, that to be delivered by the female again, and it will take 8 to 12 hours of the carving. If retained by definition placenta not shed after 12 hours, do not forcibly remove it. Administration of antibiotics may be warranted if the cow acts sick. The placenta out in 4 to 7 days, 8 days. Yes, this may be. So now you can have. You also put some that the injections they are utilizing hormone, or sometimes the oxytocin preparation. So because the placental attachment with the uterine membrane, it's cartilaginous, that attachment is there. So there should be the hormonal activity, which with the huge amount of the secretion of PGF2 alpha, that utilizing hormone whom we are calling, and the oxytocin. Altogether, they are working on the attachment of where the central membrane is attached with the endometrium of the uterus. That attachment loosened, and then only we see that there is the release of the central membrane from the body of the female. So that if generally in normal cases, if we deliver within 8 to 12 hours, and then we'll see that after that the animal is in a comfortable position. But if because of any reason, if there is a position whom we are calling the retained placenta or ROP cases, in that we are not supposed to interfere, that you use the antibiotics and the combination of this hormonal preparation. Then we'll see that through this we'll see that the entire the physiological activity inside the body, and that ultimately help in bringing out the placental membrane from the body. So after that, when the placenta will come out, nowadays there are certain ecbolic drugs, that the hormonal, that the preparations, the herbal preparations, they are also available, and they are they are responsible for enhancing the uterine contraction, will help in the delivery of the placental membrane from the body of the female. So these all the ecbolic, those who are not only helping in removing the placenta from the body, but they are also responsible for, and they are also initiating the process of involution of uterus. It means when it is also very much important that the regaining of the shape and size of the uterus in the normal position, and then only the entire that parturition process will feel that to be completed. Because the disappearance of local discharge and all, they are also the disappearance of local discharge is one of the situation that gives the assurance that now the animal is in the normal productive condition. Because still we have a local discharge at the female, that is also not a healthy sign. That the lochia should be disappear within 3 to 5 days after the parturition, and then only will have because that the colostrum that is the initial the milk production which is required for the development and growth of the fetus, that is to be disappearance of this within a week time. We have to ensure that the colostrum will over, and then only we'll have a good milk production which can be used for the commercial purpose. So that situation to initially that local disappearance is also very much important, and the regaining of that uterine uterus position at the natural position is also very much required. And that too, for that we have to have a certain use of these kind of that the ecbolics, those who are available in the market. And these after that third stage, you see that the animal will take the So we have completed almost the discussion about the gestation and the parturition process. So let us have a recap on that. That uh, the 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 gestation. Let us have first understood that what is the meaning of gestation. Gestation is nothing. It is the period in between the conception to the parturition, and that period to be called as gestation period. And that period is varying species wise, species to species. In the case of the cow and buffalo, it is about that gestation period is about 280 days, and since the conception being took place, and that in the case of the sheep and goat it is about 150 days, around 150 days, and in the case of the swine it is on around 116 to 120 days, and then in the case of the in the case of the the beach it is about 62 days. So that and in the case of the rabbits it's on around 28 to 30 days. So that gestation period is varied in species to species. And then the parturition, we know that the parturition is nothing. It in mammalian, we know it's a stage where the when the female gives the birth to young one. So this process, entire process being called as the parturition, and the both process, either it's a gestation period or the parturition period, both are having the huge hormonal changes inside the body of the female. We know at the time of the when the gestation or conception, we know that there is evolution in the body of the female from ovary, and that evolution and then the spermatozoa they are reaches to the ampulla, and then we know that the fertilization took place, and then this fertilized ovum to whom we are calling zygote, and that to be started to marching towards the uterine horns, where we know that the placental membrane developed, and then this zygote is now being attached with the placental membrane, and the initial nourishment through placental membrane being took place. But within that attachment, that fetus, that the zygote, that in between the ampulla and the uterine hormone, that time to be the nourishment, initial nourishment to be taken care by the hormone to whom we are calling the progesterone, and that hormone is released through thoroughly when there's the fertilization took place, and then for nourishment of this initial nourishment of this zygote, that progesterone hormone which is releases from the corpus luteum, that to be formed just after the ovulation, and that corpus luteum secretion whom we are calling the progesterone. This hormone is responsible for maintaining the pregnancy throughout the gestation. And because of that secretion of this progesterone hormone, the negative feedback being given to the hypothalamus not to release the gonadotropic hormones, for example, the FSH and LH, that inducing hormone releasing factor from the hypothalamus to initiate the anterior pituitary to release the FSH and LH. So that because of that negative feedback, that the release of these gonadotropic hormones is stopped immediately, and then we'll see that the corpus luteum that is formed at the ovary, that the corpus luteum is started secreting the hormone to whom we are calling the progesterone hormone, and then in throughout the gestation period, this hormone is responsible for sending the negative feedback to the hypothalamus not to release the hormone to whom we are calling that the hormone of evolution or hormone of that ovulatory growth, because now the animal is pregnant. So this kind of that automatic feedback mechanism is there, and when the gestation is over and the animal now the gestation period is over, now the young one to be delivered by the female. On that time, immediately there is a secretion of a hormone to whom we are calling the PGF12 or prostaglandin hormone. That hormone to be releases from the uterus horn, and that hormone regresses the corpus luteum, which is there at the ovary since the ovulation, and so that corpus luteum is secreting the hormone to we are calling the progesterone hormone. So that immediately stopped, and we'll see that when the parturition begins, we'll see the progesterone availability in the blood is almost negligible, and then that also gives the feedback to the hypothalamus to release the hormone to we are calling the prolactin hormone, to initiate anterior pituitary to release prolactin and other that the andro and the gonadotropic hormone, and then we'll see that the release of that oxytocin hormone through the posterior pituitary, and that reaches all together. They are responsible for the initiation of the parturition stage 1. And then when the both of these hormones along with the estrogen hormone, they all are responsible for the opening of the cervix and dilation of the cervix, and this entire process being took place under the influence of the hormone to whom we are calling the oxytocin, then the prolactin, and prolactin is also responsible for the memory growth development, because the immediately after that when the fetus bring out the milk production of the animal is also required to nourish the to nourish the young one. So that the memory growth development is also being took place in the animal, and that ensures further that the parturition is being processed. And then after we have already completed the discussion of parturition, that how the fetus will come out, and then after that 8 to 12 hours, that when the fetus is delivered by cow and buffalo, that within 8 to 12 hours we will expect the third stage, that the release of that placental membrane, which is now become the foreign body in the animal, and if because of any reason the placenta is not released by the animal, then we'll go for certain treatments through antibiotics, and the few hormonal preparations they are also available, that the luteinizing hormone preparation and the oxytocin, that preparation they are available, and we give these hormonal preparation to the animal, and then we'll see that within few hours that will have extraction of the placental membrane from the body of the animal. And if at all, because of all these, if it is at all not possible, then manual that intervention is required, and that to be done by the experienced veterinarian with concurrent current care, because because we know that the nowadays that there are the problem of that brucellosis is also there. So if the animal is suffering from such a pandemic disease, which is zoonotic in nature and being transmitted to avoid that kind of that situation when the disease transmitted to animal to human being, that to proper care to be taken by the veterinarian. So these are the things. So we have discussed about the gestation and parturition in the animal. Thank you very much for being with me.